Hey guys, Ammy here. It's been a while since I've started a video like that. Today we are looking at a recipe that, I kid you not, I just flicked through this and ended up on the page. Still on watercress soup, maybe next year. And I found cheesy leek and couscous cake. Now this is a great book. It's 3 and 4 recipes, 3 and 4 ingredient recipes with the added occasional pantry item. But for this, it is essentially just couscous, leeks, cheese, baked into a cake. And then, yeah. We'll see how this one turns out. Now, it does call for 300 grams of couscous. Now, I can find just couscous, so for an added little extra flavour, I have got flavoured couscous, which seems to be sealed in Fort Knox over here. So, a little bit extra in there, we get some nice veggies. Oh, there is an easy tear on one side. I suppose it's got to be airtight, because the way couscous be. So, yeah, this serves 4. So, I probably could have greatly reduced this recipe. But hey, that's 300 grams of couscous plus additives. And then to that, it wants us to add 450 mils, 3/4 of a pint, 2 scant cups of boiling water. Now, I'm going to go for about 500 mils because in this one we do have the dried veggies, so they're going to take a little bit extra water as well. Now, the thing that I absolutely love about couscous is you just basically do that and it cooks itself. It's great. Do I have a fork? Yes. That does smell really quite nice. Right, and then step 2, heat up some oil in a 23-inch or 9-inch non-stick frying pan. Now we have a new addition to the channel. Hopefully not going to break the induction with it. It is our brand new cast iron skillet. Now it does say to use oil. I'd probably use butter. I've got fake just like butter, but if I actually had butter I would use actual butter because butter and leeks just go well together. We want to get our chopping board and we want to cut up 2 leeks. Now I have absolute beast of a leek, which isn't that one, it's that one. So I have a feeling that when it asked for 2 leeks, it wasn't thinking of leeks of this size, it was possibly thinking of leeks closer to that size. So I'm gonna say this is gonna be very leaky. In fact, I could probably just get away with just using this one, but I've just thrown the bag in the bin. So yeah, just going to give this a little bit of a rinse because I think it's sweated in the bag a little bit. So we want to, I would normally just cut this into like rings, but because it's such a chunky boy, I'm definitely going to have to cut it down a little bit. I'm just going to cut the end off a little bit as well. Just get rid of the dry end. And then straight down there. Straight down there. Going for a little bit off on that cut apparently. And then just check your leek. This actually seems to be pretty clean. There's no grit or anything in there. Always got to be careful with your leeks because they grow from the inside out. So can quite often get dirt trapped in there. But these seem to be alright. And then we want to fry the leeks over medium heat for 4 to 5 minutes, stirring occasionally until tender and golden. Now, of course, you want to cut your leeks how you want to cut your leeks. You want to cut them into strips, you want to cut them into little bits. That is, of course, completely up to you. Now, I'm obviously not cutting like a pro here because I did not think this through when cutting the leek. Now, I was going to run out of chopping board. I had one cut. And I'm badly feeding that in through, so it's getting nice and separated. So I think that is enough leek, I think. But then again, it's going to cook down. I'm just trying to look at that, and then, yeah. Now that seems to be pretty well puffed up. See, couscous, such an underrated thing. Yes, I know I've removed the pot. Shut up. Get the old probe. That is already 230 degrees, so that is definitely not medium. So we're just going to get a nice sizzle on that and then turn that straight down. Now, because we are turning this into a cake that I assume is going back in here, just looking at how much leek's in there, I'm going to say that's enough. But I do really like leek, so I'll save that leek for another time. I've got possibly a bag somewhere. Yeah, I was a bit optimistic, wasn't it? For some reason, this leek was a lot harder to cut than that one. There we go, stick that in the fridge. Throw that into something later in the week. Okay, so I think the leeks have cooked down enough. I have added a little bit of extra water into the couscous just because it was a little bit crispy. And then we want to upset the plate. There we go. So it took a while to realise it wasn't there. Now it says to remove the leeks with a slotted spoon. Now there isn't actually much, you know, liquid in there. So I don't think removing them with a slotted spoon was quite necessary. Yes, yes, yes. I hear you beeping away. Right, and then we add in the cheese. As I say, I think the cheese is going to melt and possibly bind this all together. So I want to give this a good old mix. Throw any cheese back in that escapes. Now for the pantry bit. Wow, this really sounds like it needs new batteries. Yeah, for the pantry bit, salt and black pepper, you know. Even in the UK, salt and black pepper shouldn't be a you have to go out and buy it for a recipe kind of thing. I know the whole thing of the rest of the world thinks that we don't season our food. But, you know, we have fish and chips. We know what salt and pepper is. Now, I have a wide variety of salt, but I'm just going to try and do this as close to the actual recipe as I can, apart from the whole couscous thing that, no, obviously I couldn't do, because I couldn't get normal couscous. I'm going to get flavoured couscous. Yeah, I didn't really fancy going to a different shop. Right. Not going to lie. Loving the enamelled pan. Because I love my cast iron, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love my cast iron. But in this flat, it is just way too damp to use a cast iron. And every time I use it, I have to re-season it, and yeah, it's a whole thing. Right, I'm just going to have a little taste test. I can scrape all that off, just in case there is a big old chunk of cheese in there. That is good. I mean, it's cheese, leeks, and flavoured couscous, so if you don't like cheese, you don't like leeks, and you don't like couscous, the recipe's probably not for you. Yeah, let's get the old spatula in there just to get that couscous off the bottom. And then we are just get that little bit of leek off from the outside of the bowl. We want to pat this down like it's a cake, apparently. It's weird. I can feel the induction vibrating through the pan. Not a fan of that. So that looks pretty cool. The only problem is that I'm using a skillet rather than a pan, so it's not got straight sides. It's got... I very almost brought a matching frying pan, but that's maybe a next week thing, if they've still got them. But anyway, we just cook this over what it says is a medium heat. So I'm going to say the 600, which is what I cook the leeks on, is about a medium. Yep, just cook that over a gentle heat for 15 minutes until the underside is crisp and golden. Then you want to slide the couscous cake onto a plate, then invert it back into the pan to cook on the other side for a further 5 to 8 minutes. Now that's what scares me. But anyway, yeah. I'll be back when it's time to flip, I guess. Alrighty, we are back. Ignore the bellowing smoke out the side of the pan, please. I put it up a little bit too high, I think. Just to try and... I'm trying to seal it before I flip it, you see. Because I'm not confident that it's going to come out clean. Do I have... Where is my palette knife when I want it? See, that's melty gooey. Really hot on your lip. See, I don't think, judging by how little resistance I'm getting around the sides here, it's stuck. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think the issue is going to be the concept of the flip. Because, like, my plate fits, like, perfectly. Just about. On the pan. So what I'm going to have to do is flip there, and then plate there, flip again, and then pan back up again. So it's not just as simple as where it says in the book, yeah, slide the couscous cake onto a plate, then invert it back into the pan on the other side. I don't think it's going to be that simple, and I think it's going to be slightly crispy on the bottom, so expect it to be black. Because it's starting to smell just a little bit. Like, you know when you make a cheese toasty, and you've just let it go, like, the cheese is... Ooh. We good. The cheese has just seeped out slightly. What do you know? The pan's hot. See, I think the way that they're describing it is you're supposed to just slide it out the pan. I don't think it's going to slide. I think... No. The problem with cast iron, that's really hot. So, if we just turn that off just for now. Right, just to dampen slamming the plate down like this. Ooh. I don't like that. Plate moved. Plate moved. Right, we've committed. The pan's still quite heavy, and I saw some of it on the cake, or some of it on the plate. I don't think it's all made it out. I feel like a shit was. Ooh. Yeah, nah, some of it did stay. Some of it got quite crispy in the middle there. Yes, that'll be when I turn it up a little bit too high. Right, this ain't going to be a pretty thumbnail. And we're not even over yet, so... We've got one more chance of making this look half decent. And that's on the other flip. Right. I'm going to try and exclude some of the crispiness. And then I've got to try and... Yeah, technical difficulties. We'll be right back. So I think what I'm going to have to do that. Yes. Help. Just a bit of cheese, right. Right, pan's going to be hot. The problem is I can't see what I'm doing. Right, I'm just gonna have to... Ooh. Oh, so close. There we go. Beautiful. I think. Right, power. We want temperature. Yep, on, power, temperature. Let's do 60. I say, she ain't pretty, but I think if she didn't burn, she'd be alright. You know, like a lot of things. Alright, so I'm going to let that go for another 5 minutes. And then I'll be back. Alrighty, we are back. There is a Corey lurking in the doorway. So, are you coming in? No? Okay. Right, do we attempt the flip? Now, like, where this is actually crisped up, I really like it. It's nice crispy, obviously. It's crisped up. But do we quarter it and then just try and flip a chunk Or do we just go for the big flip once yet again? We've got to redeem ourselves with a flip, right? Now the pan has been considerably cooler. It's been about 60 degrees. I'm really hoping the pan doesn't, or not the pan, the plate doesn't break. We did that thing again where it slipped in. This is a problem. You want to use plate that is a bit bigger than your pan, not the exact same size. Otherwise you end up with squeaky bum moments like that. Oh dear, we've lost some. Well, that didn't even crisp, so yeah. Alright. We've got some slight crisping around the edge there, so that was too low. And then last time was too hot. Right, I'm just gonna dispose of the evidence. Basically, what I've made is just like twice cooked couscous now. I've not made it into a cake, I've just cooked it twice. But, you know, I'm happy with it. That's what counts, right? Nothing in the world's going to turn out perfect. Occasionally you just need to see that it's not going to be 100% and just drink whilst you're cooking. Chili meat is probably not the most ideal thing to drink whilst you're cooking. Has a nice kick to it. But hey, this is like the second thing that I've made today. And to be fair, minus stealing a slice of bread out, bread turned out alright. Fun little fact, the brown on top is actually cocoa powder. So that loaf of bread is actually worth about £2,000. Which, you know, pretty damn cool. I mean, it's good. It's nothing fancy. Do you really need to bake it in a pan? No. What you could probably actually do, what with having cast iron and all, brown the bottom slightly. Maybe if you've got like induction or something that you can temperature control, like 70, 80 degrees for like 10 minutes. Yeah, stick it under the grill. You don't have to faff about with trying to flip the thing. That's what I'd do if I was right in the butt. You shove it under the grill. So, I mean, it's a cake. It's supposed to go in the oven. I'm going to upset people now by putting my couscous knife in the butter. So yeah, just do that. Simple. Stick under the grill. Mix it all up in the bowl. Stick it maybe in like a cake pan or something, like a loose bottom cake pan. And stick it in the oven. Wait for it to go brown and crispy on top. Why was I going to put the butter on the shelf? It's one of those days. Butter goes in the fridge. So yeah, anyway, that is the Pac-Man cake, I guess. So anyway, yeah, good on a budget. So that's what, 4 people, it's what, maybe £2 worth of cheese, about £1 or so worth of couscous, and a leek. So like £4, 4 people, £1 a serving. It's not bad. You know, you could always add black beans, lentils, chickpeas, bit of mince, bit of chorizo in that actually, yeah. As long as you don't burn it. But yeah, bit of chorizo in that would be great. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time.